Welcome back. What a beautiful Monday it is. Today, we know how to talk about. Nothing to go. You see the title. Today's going to be a quick review, my personal opinion on the card, seeing the background of UFC 324. By now, we should have already seen all the highlights, all the pretty much the crazy underdog story of Justin Gaethje, and probably, in my opinion, is probably already the candidate for a fight of the year, or one of the greatest fights we've seen in the modern era. First of all, we're going to start all the way to the early prelims, building up to the Justin and Paddy Pimblett, and I'm going to go down the wins, the losses, the highlights, and I'm going to give a final score out of 10 of what I do think about this card. And I won't give any spoilers, but let's just say that the main event really did help assert itself to be a very high rated card. Going all the way down, we're going to start with the Adam Fugit and Ty Miller. Now look, I should have kind of guessed it. I should have looked more deep into this card. I didn't know that Ty Miller was a Golden Glove boxer and he was 25. And Adam Fugit was 37. Doesn't really have. And the game plan was, I don't know why Adam wasn't willing to go to the ground, because there was just absolutely no way he was going to outstrike Ty Miller. Ty Miller the entire night was popping up the jab and hitting with the power shot. And Adam wasn't moving his head. He wasn't cutting the outside. He was just completely getting dominated. He didn't even attempt to shoot for a takedown. I should have gone more in depth why Miller should have won. All the other guys were picking him. I was like, you know what? Adam has more fight experience, been in the game longer, and I thought he was just going to overwhelm him being an older dog. But that's completely wrong. Ty Miller made this an easy night for him. And there was a moment that Fugit did caught him with the back-spinning elbow. But beside that, Miller was just dominant. You could even tell from the strikes and everything. It was just clear, perfect decision for Miller because he finished him. Doesn't even need a judge decision at this point. And it was at the very last second, which honestly, it was a good cough because, yeah, this guy was not going to survive in the second round. Absolutely not. And something else I like to shout out, I think that incentive of finishing the fight has shown in this first card. Because in the beginning, there was 4 finishes in a row. All right, this was a finish. The Josh Hockett, look, I did not know it was him being that promo guy. I thought Denzel was going to be the far better wrestler and he was able to just keep him to the ground. But you know what? Dude literally got bullied. Immediately, Josh took him to the ground, started hitting him some nasty ground and pound. I mean, look, Denzel did not, he was just a punching bag. And it's so insane, right? 2 back-to-back last-second knockouts. Josh Hockett, the first person to finish a fight by flipping you off. Crazy. I mean, look, and by the end, look, granted, there was a controversial decision on because he literally walked away and Denzel was on his knees. But honestly, good on the referee calling a fight because Denzel he gave up. He quit. He was overwhelmed, caught off guard, and he was just getting mauled. And Josh Hockett looked like he could have done this another 2 rounds. He wasn't slowing down. And Denzel did his best to try to negate, trying to survive it out, but he was just getting beat, man. I mean, look at this. 0 total strikes, 0 takedown. He shot 1 right here. Right here. Denzel falls, flips you off. This is insane. What a first person to finish a fight by flipping you off. Loved it. Great fight of the night. Josh Hockey continues. Called out the Dominican fighter, which that's gonna be a good fight because you know what, Josh Hockett does look like he is the next level of heavyweights. He comes from a many background for football, wrestling, so And it's just continuing another finish. This guy is going to be a problem in the division. Moving forward, Alex versus Charles Johnson. Dude, honestly, this is probably the one that let me down the most. I'm sorry to say this. Alex Perez, after literally like a bit over 2 years from his last win, being really extremely what's that word I'm trying to find? He's just not busy, right? He had so many canceled bouts, has lost many his fights. I mean, he literally hasn't been good since he was 27. He's 33. It's been almost 6 years since any actual activity. And Charles Johnson, this was supposed to be his mark to go and start literally asking for a rematch against Joshua Van for the title. He beat Charles Johnson beat Joshua Van. This was his opportunity to go in and win this fight, finish Alex Perez in the first round, and say, hey, I'm one fight away from the title. Blew it off completely. Dude, Alex Perez hit him with a nasty hooks that literally got Charles Johnson just wobbling. I mean, look at the strikes, man. Charles Johnson did nothing. All right. Alex Perez was just overwhelming him, and I was caught off surprise, right? This was, I mean, Charles Johnson was favored to win. Alex Perez was out for a long time. But hey, look, this just shows again, like, you can't count anybody out. This is the MMA world. I had strong feeling Charles Johnson was just going to go and dominate him. I literally thought that. Completely wrong. Another finish. That's 3 in a row. Nikita Krylov, Modesta Bakuska, another fucking underdog. Look, underdog. He was. I thought Denzel was gonna win. Miller. So there's 2 back-to-back underdogs winning. Nikita Krylov, again, what a gatekeeper for the division in the top 15. Modesta was doing so well, but towards the end, Nikita came and finished him in the last second. Many last second fucking finishes in this fight. In this fight card. Absolutely just overwhelmed them from every round. I mean, there was literally nothing that Modesta was able to answer. And I genuinely had that Modesta was just going to come in, take that spot, start building up the rankings. Another new guy in the top 15, something refreshing. Hey, but Nikita showed there's levels to this, and Modesta has a lot to work. Modesta is still very young compared to Nikita, but another finish, 4 in a row, crazy, underdog winning. Like, this was, again, what a strong start to the pretty much to the main event, to Justin versus Patty. UFC 324 had a phenomenal start to the Paramount era. Beginning of the year, like, and now we're just following up like next weekend with Alex versus Lopez. But this was a strong start. Now, this is the one that finally, after all my picks, I got it right, but not the way I thought it was going to be. Ateba Gautier versus Andre Puliev. This guy's chin needs to be studied, and he put a blueprint on how to beat Ateba. Granted, Ateba did win overall in terms of the damage he was hitting, because Andre was throwing more strikes, you could tell from here, significant strikes and stuff, but it was these knockdowns that by every round Andre Puliev was able to survive, because anytime Ateba would throw a punch, he was able to follow with it. He'll go back with it. 2 times he got knocked down, but Ateba did not follow it for whatever reason. Maybe he was tired. Maybe he felt like he wasn't able to finish it. Maybe he was kind of worried about the grappling, which now this starts to see and show that Ateba is human. If you're able to survive the first round, you could probably overwork him, because that's what Andre was. Andre was overworking Ateba. It's just, unfortunately, he does not carry the same power and significance as Ateba Gautier is able to produce in a single punch. All right, this entire night was very just Ateba literally putting damage on Andrade, and Andrade was just picking out his shots. Leg kick, jab, cross, but wasn't doing as much damage. Ateba towards the end of the third round was definitely slowing down. This is very interesting because moving forward, it's like Ateba has his weakness. He's not going to be someone like Hamza, right? Hamza is going to overwork him. He's not going to be someone like DDP. DDP has an insane cardio and chin. All right. Imanov, again, Imanov is a far better striker. Good chin. Good wrestling, right? Ateba Gautier does seem like he has potential. He is still young. He's only 23. He has so much time to build up his career. So if I was the UFC, I wouldn't rush him. Maybe give him a top 15. Maybe. I really want to see him fight someone like Jared Cannonier or MVP. Or his next fight could be against someone like Martin Vettori. Martin Vettori is out of the rankings now. He's continuing losses. And this is a chance for Ateba to gain a no name and see if he could crack Marvin's chin. He'll beat Marvin because Marvin really doesn't have no skill except just a chin and a 1-2. But that's pretty much it. But this is a chance for Ateba to at least beat a guy who has fought for the title before. Good fight. It has shown now holes in Ateba's game that moving forward, a lot of people will not be hesitant to say, all right, yeah, I'll take that fight. This dude does get tired. I just need to survive his punches in his first round and start to wrestle him. Get him to the ground. Let's really test him in those waters. Umar versus Davison Figueiredo. Another pick that I got right. Right now, I was very fortunate. I was like at 2-4 at this moment. I was like, God damn. Figgy really didn't do nothing. I'm so sorry to say this, but Figgy needs to retire. If his aspiration is to fight gold, he fought like he didn't want to be there. There's moments that they did not engage. They're literally just circling around. For about almost an entire minute, no strikes were thrown. Umar obviously was just so much faster. His kicks are just so insane. He uses pretty much like a jab. And his wrestling was just overpowered. Like, Figgy didn't even try to really grapple because there's just no way. All right, the top pressure of Umar is just way too insane. And this was a boring fight. But it wasn't because of Umar's fault. Umar was chasing out Figgy. Figgy just did not want to engage. The only time that there was any moment of engagement was by the end of the second round when Figgy made it a dogfight, bit down on his mouthpiece and just started to swing. That was the only moment, and I guess like I really wish we had like a blueprint or a coach's advice. But the worst part out of all of this was that Figgy's coach was literally telling him, hey, it's 1-1. No. As a fighter and as a coach, you cannot be giving your fighters false... What's that word? Try and find. False inspiration, false conclusions in their head, false ideas. Like, you can't give them this idea that they're winning the fight or it's close and 1-1 that I could just maybe scrape by when the third round. You got to tell them you have to finish the fight. You can't tell them. Open scorecards should be considered, because at least in this sense, it tell your fighter there's urgency to be made here. Figgy didn't fight with that urgency. Figgy fought to hopefully not be embarrassed, not to lose, not to get finished. And my thing was like, Umar doesn't have that capacity to finish him. I can't even remember the last time Umar even finished a fight. So I was like, dude, you gotta make this a dirty fight. Clinch, dirty box, fight him in the middle. If you have to engage in wrestling, you got a strong base of jiu-jitsu. You gotta be confident in it. All right, attack, throw triangles, arm bars. I don't care if it doesn't work. but make it seem like you're actually wanting to be there, wanting to win. Figgy's about to be almost 40 years old. He has already lost against everybody in the top 5, right? With Corey, Umar, Peter. So those title aspirations is gone. All right, if you think this was bad, if he fought against Merab would actually, I genuinely do think he would just pick him up and throw him outside the cage. Because there's just nothing that Fig is able to do against Merab. All right, I don't want to see that. Either you stay at 135 or you go down to 125. But your title aspiration is pretty much gone. All right, and this is a guy that Figgy was like, he beat Pantoja. He beaten Brendan Moreno. He's been a champion, right? He's not a slack. He's beaten tough guys in a 135 before. But he just didn't have that urgency to win that fight. And this is a good win on Umar because Umar has a champion under his name now. A guy who's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame of Figgy. Umar fought an amazing fight. He kept it pretty much as basic to the game plan, right? Like the striking was pretty good. The wrestling was there. So my problem is, does this warrant Umar to get a title shot? No. Unfortunately, you didn't finish the fight. You're supposed to go in here and finish Figgy in the first round. All right? Because this doesn't make me say, you know what, I want to see him against Peter. Because what this fight told me and showed me, Peter will beat Umar right now at this moment. All right, he didn't warrant anything for me to be like, oh shoot, I want to see Umar versus Peter Yan. I don't want to see Peter Yan versus Merab. No, what this shows me, like, you know what, Umar either have to wait or he has to fight against someone else, right? Like maybe Sean O'Malley. He already fought against Corey Sandhagen. And he already fought number 6. So, like, what other options do you have? I can't really think on top of my head. I'm trying to see in the rankings, who would he fight? UFC ranking of bantamweight. Because he's already number 2. So, yeah, like it's either Sean O'Malley, Sonya Dong. Sonya already lost against Sean O'Malley. Zahabi, no. Marlon, no. Bautista, he already fought against Bautista. He already fought against Figueiredo. So that's already 2 fights he's fought and someone below him. But that didn't warrant him a title shot. In reality, Umar kind of screwed himself over. I'm being honest. He kind of screwed himself over by not finishing Figgy. He fought a low ranking Bautista and a low ranking Figgy, which is good on him because he's actually going to fight guys below him. But did not warrant you a title fight. So it's either you're going to have to wait in the sidelines for another year because Peter Yan's going to fight against Merab, and they're going to for sure book Sean O'Malley versus whoever wins that fight. If it's Merab, I don't think so. They're going to probably book Umar. So Sean O'Malley really is going to be praying that Peter Yan beats Merab. Because we're not going to see a Sean O'Malley versus Merab 3. We just know how it's going to end. Merab is just going to take down Sean O'Malley over and over. That's just a fight that 10 out of 10 times Merab wins. Moving forward. Now we're on to the main card. Beside all this, the only fight till then was boring was that Umar versus Figueiredo. I'd say Gautier and Andre was pretty alright. But man, what a start. What a start. Arnold Allen versus John Silva. Dude, you already know. You already seen the videos, the photos. John Silva riding on Arnold Allen. Insane. Dude, I saw that. I was like, what the hell? First of all, it was a battle of the autists, right? This was a close match. But towards the end of the 3rd round, John Silva really started to dominate. The first round started heavy on Arnold Allen. I did give it a 29-27. Because I think the first round, Arnold Allen won. He was overwhelming John Silva. He was picking his shots better. And this is a thing, I guess, like for English fighters I've noticed with Murphy, Edwards, and Allen. Tom Aspinall doesn't really count because he hits you and you go to sleep. But my problem with this type of style of fighters is that they're too precise. They're too technical. They're too... When it's time to bite down on that mouth guard, they do not got that dog in them. Leon doesn't got the dog in him. Murphy doesn't got the dog in him. And Arnold Allen doesn't got that dog in him. Someone like John Silva does. John Silva has a strong chin. He took a lot of hits from Arnold Allen, but he was able to keep on walking him down. He was able to take him down as well. Which Arnold Allen, I was very surprised he was able to get him to the ground because Mosvar struggled against Allen. But John Silva was able to completely just dominate in all areas. From the striking, from the power, from the wrestling. This kind of just now elevates John Silva to potentially a title fight against Lopez or Yair, which I think that should be the next fight. John Silva should fight against Yair, and they should do it either in April or May. That's going to be a good time. And with that, John Silva is able to fight for the title against Lopez in a rematch or Alexander Volkanovski. Right? This is a good showing. I mean, John Silva literally has only one loss against a guy who's fine right now this weekend. And we're going to see how that goes. All right? Because who doesn't like mostly rematches, who really likes rematches, I like to say, is Dana White. So, Arnold Allen versus John Silva, phenomenal fight. What a crazy, from beginning to the end, it was back and forth, but John Silva definitely was overwhelming Arnold Allen. And by the end of the third round, you knew John Silva won that fight. But hey, look, Arnold Allen, I know this is his third loss out of 4. He can't give up. You have literally gone in war with all the top guys you fought in. With Movsar, with Max, with John Silva. I do think that you kind of have to really recenter group and start to really think like, hey, you're going to have to be fighting a lot more dirty or a lot more aggressive moving forward. You're going to have to let that dog out. Because these guys in the top 5, like, the only reason why you've lost was either because they're overwhelmed you with grappling or they just out-dogged you. Good fight. Now, the next 2 fights was extremely overwhelming. Don't want to go into in debt. But Natalia Silva and Rose Namajunas. Dude, Rose was robbed. I hate to say this. Rose was robbed. Like, I don't know. Third round, Natalia Silva did win. I'd give you that. But the first 2 rounds was Rose. And I actually feel for Rose because if she would have won this fight, she would be fighting for the title. And you know what? Maybe she could have beaten Valentina Shevchenko, but they screwed her over. For what reason? I don't know. These total strikes are not real. They just cannot be real. Dude, I don't even remember Natalia landing 51 significant strikes. How? First round was 100% Rose. Second round was 100% Rose. Third round was Valentina. Dude, this was a robbery. Was it boring? Yes. It was really boring. Natalia didn't have the reach. Alright. She was pretty much moving like she was dancing. Alright. You could see her hips. Like she was trying to like fake a leg kick, but she wouldn't throw it. Alright. She would hardly ever engage against her. Look, my whole thing when I was watching it live was that Rose can't knock you out. Alright, she doesn't carry that same power up in a flyweight. Natalia is just way thicker in all the right places. But what I mean by this is like she literally is out muscling her. We saw that. In the clinch, in the grappling moments, Natalia was able to out muscle Rose, outwork her. So if I was in her like coach telling her after the first round, I was like, hey, go and engage, make this dirty. Clinch her up to the fence. All right, take her to the ground. just not going to knock you out. Don't be scared. Out muscle, outwork her. Make this more convincingly. Because in my eyes, I saw Rose being robbed. Boring as it was, this slowed down the card. But still, I do not like to see robbery. I like to see the rightful fighter win, no matter my opinion on it. And Rose won that fight. Moving on. Waldo versus Derek Lewis. Dude, honestly, this fight was extreme letdown. I hate to say this, but Derek Lewis pretty much quit. He was already gassed out by the end of the first round. Dude, it's so insane because Derek Lewis, a couple of fights ago, dude was super slimmed out. He looked so in shape. But now he just... I don't know exactly what caused Derek Lewis to like just give up out of nowhere. Waldo was for sure the faster guy. He was able to counter anything that Derek threw him. And that small jab was like an Anderson Silva just pop and knocked Derek Lewis. But it didn't even look like he knocked him down. It literally looked like Derek Lewis just came off balance, fell to the ground, and then Waldo just ended up finishing him to the ground. And there's moments Derek Lewis, like he just lays in his back. It's like, you're not a jiu-jitsu black belt, so just get up. And he just seemed like he just did not want to be there after the first minute. Like after this entire week of just telling him I'm gonna knock him out in the first round and stuff, you went out like that, and I was like, man, you know what? I think Derek Lewis should retire from MMA and go into their dirty boxing, because it just they might pay you in better. You have better chances of winning because you got that fucking power. And you know what, man? You've been in the game for so long. I really like Derek Lewis. You know, I really wanted him to beat Waldo so that he has a chance to fight against Cyril Gane or Tom Aspinall at the White House. More likely against Tom Aspinall. That would bring a lot of hype. You know, I generally, those guys root for Derek Lewis to be a champ because he's just a likable person. He's not a guy who talks shit or in media, but he's just a guy who's just so funny, very outgoing. He's from Texas, where I'm from. So, and this was very disappointing. And I hate to see Derek Lewis lose. I really do. I always show up to all his fights. When he wins, it's just a good time. MMA is a nice place. He loses, it sucks, all right? And look, good for Waldo, man. That's a good name, and he's on a run. He is literally knocking on a title shot. But we move on. This was very boring, lackluster, all right? These last two was very lackluster. The next two, Song over to Sean O'Malley, was an alright fight. Sean O'Malley won this fight by that third round. Because, so, reason why I thought Song Yadong could have potentially won was the wrestling. He was able to get Sean O'Malley to the ground. You could see 3 out of 7, right? My problem was, like, I don't know what caused him to revert his game plan on the third round. Sayonam was doing so good with the leg kicks, was able to make it dirty and get close to Sean O'Malley to take him to the ground that he was successfully doing. But by the third round, he just threw that in the window. It just seemed like he just gave Sean O'Malley that win. I'm being honest with you. It just seemed like someone probably whispered in his ear. One of the coaches was like, hey, I'm paying you $100,000 if you just stop putting pressure on Sean O'Malley on the third round. Because it definitely looked like Song Yadong was on his way to winning this fight. First round, close, I gave it to Sean O'Malley. Second round, Song Yadong for sure. He was overrunning Sean O'Malley, those leg kicks, gave him to the ground. He was beating Sean O'Malley in every aspect. And I was thinking, like, holy shit, Song Yadong is now implementing the game plan, right? It looked like he was like, oh, okay, all right, I remember the game plan. Third, you see this? out the window. All right, out the window. This dude threw his shot away to the title for some whatever reason. You could tell that when Sean O'Malley was walking out the arena, he was limping. Why did you abandon that? Why did you stop throwing those leg kicks? Why did you stop throwing body kicks? Right? What was going on? You knew that you were able to out wrestle him. You took him down already. I'm tired. Third round. I'm sweating. This is you've been prepping for. This is what you train for. You put those extra hours on those nights and those days for this. And you went out there and just threw it all away in the third round. Look, I'll be honest with you. This is a good win on Sean O'Malley because I was an actual valid win. But Song Yadong really did let the ball go. Sean O'Malley won because Song Yadong decided to lose. He decided not to implement the game plan anymore. Decided just to walk around and become a punching bag on that third round. No leg kicks, no takedown attempts, no way to engage and cut the distance in that void to land a hook to the body, to land an overhand right. He was just throwing hooks thinking it's gonna land. Dude, he's 5'11". You're 5'8". Your wingspan is 67 inches. All right, you're not gonna touch him or hit him. Again, I think my problem was that he was training with guys his size. Maybe he did have a guy at Sean O'Malley's height, but I don't know. Song Yadong deserved this loss because he threw that way on the third round. I was frustrated watching my screens like, what happened? This is not the same fighter that fought in the second round. But hey, look, Sean O'Malley, he probably got his title shot. He's just now waiting until Peter Yan Merab. If Merab wins, they're not going to give him that. They're going to give it to Umar. If Peter Yan wins, they're going to give Sean O'Malley his title shot again. And I don't like that. I just do not like it. All right. Umar is in a far better position, but they don't do rankings. Sean O'Malley knows that. They want to do what the fight fans want to see. We don't want to see that. What I want to see is Sean O'Malley versus Corey Sandhagen next. That should be it. You beat Corey Sandhagen, you get the title shot. No, they shut the fuck up. Personally, no disrespect. Like the dude, nothing against him. It's just that I do not like unrewarded title shot, which leads up to this segment. The main event that pretty much put the staple to pretty much this fight card. Now, obviously in my previous video, I've already kind of went in my opinion in how amazing this fight was. Barn burner, wasn't technical, wasn't pure skill of IQ of Demetrius Johnson, John Jones, or GSP, or Ilya Topuria. No, this was just a fight. All right, a fight. Justin Gaethje went out there and proved that the old head still got it. Even if he's going to be 38 this year. He went out there and you know what? You know what's so insane? Justin has never fought anyone outside of the top 10. His entire career in the UFC has been with legit the best versus the best. He is a career legendary. He has fought in the who's who, the what's what. He has fought in the best out of the best. Every title shot he has had, he was against either a new era or the absolute best in that day. Charles Oliveira, Khabib, and now he's up against Ilya Topuria. This is an insane career for Justin Gaethje. I love this fight because it proved two things. Justin wants to be champion, and Paddy Pimblett has a potential to be champion. Paddy Pimblett did a phenomenal job with still having that dog in him. He does deserve to be a top 5. He has a chin of granite, got knocked down, was able to get back up. Shout out to the referee for not ending the fight in those moments. And look, and there's moments that Paddy Pimblett came back in the fight. Round 3 and round 5, you could argue that round 5 was a Paddy Pimblett's round. Justin fought a dirty fight. Let's just be honest. Was those eye pokes change everything? Yeah. But hey, look, man, if you're able to accept John Jones as a champion, then you're able to accept that this fight also, because those eye pokes does change everything. But in the end of the day, it's referee's job to see it and find it. The low groin shot, if the referee didn't see it, what can we do as fans? There's nothing. It's already decided. All right. There's a lot of fights back in the day that you could wish could go back and change. But unfortunately, you can't. We have to accept it, move on, and learn from it. All right. The referee's job is there to protect the fighter. If he fails to do it, it's not the fighter's job. It is the referee. Yes, Justin does have. He's not innocent. No, he purposely threw those eye pokes and that low groin shot. But that's referee's job to catch it. It sucks to say that. But hey, look, Justin won that fight. What an amazing way to end that night. I'm talking about, like, I was nervous all around because there's moments that Paddy Pillman could have slept Justin, and I was like, holy shit, this is actually gonna happen. But Justin, again, the Rufus, he experienced counts so much because he understands, like, you know what, I've been in wars. I know when I'm actually in danger, and I know when to push forward and when to back off. And shout out to Trevor Whitman to constantly be by Justin, and Kamaru Usman being the perfect sparring partner to really push Justin to that level. Now we just gotta have to wait and see against his fight against Ilia Topuria, which is going to be an amazing fight, probably going to be in the White House. I don't know how that will go. Justin definitely looked a lot slower than before, maybe because he was on antibiotics. But hey, look, he went out there, did his business. What a way. Personally, I'm going to be honest with you. Taking time to really relish that fight card, I'm going to give it a 7.5. Maybe an 8, all right? It depends on your taste, right? Maybe an 8 because of the main event really carried hard and how the card really started. Midway, it was all right. But I mean, the best fight of the night was, you know, John Silva versus Arnold Allen and Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. Those two fights really made this just hard. So, my opinion, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Maybe by the end of the year, it might go back up. But this was a good card. Really liked it. I am looking forward for next weekend. And I'm going to post my predictions tomorrow. And we'll see it coming forward. Thank you guys for watching. Please take care. Be warm. Be safe. Peace.